Welcome to Bunny's Designs, live Thursday. Oh dear, seem to be a bit... Goodness me, heavy breather. Heavy breather. Breathe with me. Bunny's Designs, this is the last Thursday of... Oh, I think it is. I'm saying it is. I think it is. Oh, I think it is. It's not the last Thursday of my headache. I still have my headache. I bought a couple of these. I wish I'd bought the other ones. No, I bought that one, but never mind. There we go. I bought another one of these. I can't find my little one. Don't know what I've done with it. So if I decide to use that, I'm going to have to open that one. And I bought some individual number ones, and I don't know why I did it, because Tight Yorkshire Lass, I've realised I could have used the water brush for something else, but I like the number one so much. So I can't decide what to do, so I've just grabbed a few colour books out. I've got all the Kerby Rosanes, because of course they take a water-based. I've got my beautiful Linda Ravenscroft Fairy and Fantasy Art. And then I've got the Christmas one. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in with the Christmas theme since we're over it. I haven't done anything in here really. So it's been a funny Christmas. I think with the headache, and then I've got my fairy. My daughter was throwing this out, this bag, because I bought it quite a few years ago, but it's still in good condition. So I thought I'd recycle it and use it for pencils and for colour books. And it just seems to be a handy little site. So sometimes, even though it's Christmas and you like new things, and I've got my Derwents in there. Oh, I know what it's going to be in here. Oh, that's what I put in here, the pencil sharpeners. But my hands are bad, so I don't know if I'm going to stop using pencils as a pencil, if that makes any sense. I didn't do it before. Two of my prezzies were these two from Derwent. One was the sketching journal and one was the bullet journal. So I'll be setting up those, and I think I'm going to do a video on that, because I think there's going to be a lot of editing. I've still got my headache, guys. Yes, I'm going to have this for 2019. It's going to be my New Year's present to myself. So I put my long socks on because I'm in the room today. It's a bit nippy. But look what my daughter bought me. And I thought, oh, that's quite pretty. And then I didn't realise that actually bunny ears. It's a bunny. So I got some of the bunny slippers. I got some bunny slippers. And everything had bunnies in it. I think I must like bunnies. Alfie's shut in the other room because he's been a bit barky and chasing the animals. He's chasing the animals this morning. Hi Marie, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So, sorry about the breathing, it's still pants. So I bought the sketching journal set because I want to get back into sketching again. And I've also got the bullet journal because I love the bullet journal. But I'm not very creative. So what I decided to do is I bought this little one. I forgot where I was, which particular... I don't know why it's very in my face this today. So this little book, it was a £1 or two, and it's very, very... Oh, well, it might tell me where it's from. And it's a notebook, an A6 notebook, and it's very, very thin Chinese paper, like the layout paper that I like. Bible paper probably is. And it said there were 365, but I thought I'd use that to replace this one. Now, I do love this one, but of course I've got it in a mess. This is a little, this is a little, and I lost my lovely little hairband with a poppy on it. I quite like this little book, and it has some lovely pages in it, but and I've used it as a bullet journal. Now, of course, it's stuff like that because of Christmas. One thing I did do is I put a post-it note, because the large post-it notes actually fitted quite well, and it meant I wasn't ruining the diary. And then I found a vintage ruler, which I thought looked so cute. And I've also got, I bought this in Ireland, and it's technically a bottle opener, but again, just being that little bit more creative, I can take it to bits now. So I'm going to transfer all this information into my new little book here, but I'm not sure if I want to keep this as a private note diary and keep this as my bullet journal, because I've got quite a lot to go and it is working quite well for me. So most of these post-it notes can go, because obviously they were just Christmas things. But on the what do we call this, bookmark, I tied my Guinness bottle opener, but actually I quite like that little shape, and these little shapes here as well. So I didn't do it to start with, but then I started to think, let me find a page, that this is I only did this in pencil because I like to do it in pencil. I like the little shape here, so I thought, well, this is to go in the handbag for notes and everyday things and hospital appointments and things. But I am thinking I may leave this one, because again, normally it's a normal size. The reason I do the post-it notes is I have quite a lot, and it's quite nice to get rid of. Once you've done the thing in a day or so, it goes. And I always like that. When I do the bullet journaling in the Filofax, I always have the spare rough paper at the other end for immediate things. So shopping lists, daily to-do lists, they all go in one end, because I don't want to clog up the bullet journal system. Because when I've got a month in there, it might last me 6 months to 8 months. So I don't want a shopping list that I did 8 months ago. So I have all my immediate things that I can just tear off and get rid of without destroying the look or the aesthetics of the little book. Again, all the post-it notes, and when I put all the hospital notes and the paramedic notes and things in there, that can go. And it'll become a nice little neat book again. I've got quite a few hospital appointments coming up. But if I take all that out, it becomes a lovely little neat, and this is kind of like a plastic, but it's quite pretty. It becomes a neat book again, because all these post-it notes are all Christmas notes. So they can all come out now. And I did have this in as well, with little tabs. So that's in there as well, just in case. In fact, if we do that now, this is what it looks like now, and it goes back to being. And then I have a very pretty little little poppy. I think it's a poppy headband bobble, and it just sits quite nicely on top, and it keeps it together. So I do have one hospital appointment that I must put into there for my headache. So I'm going for an MRI scan next week. So again, I have to keep things like that in there, because if I don't, I forget. So this is why I do need some little book with me for notes, ideas, things I have to get down before they disappear into the abyss, which they probably will. And I seem to have lost my hospital appointment. I will leave that in the back. Again, it's just a normal post-it note. It just seems really handy. And then I tear one off when I'm doing the scribbles. If it's an idea for something, I'll pop it into here. Not having many ideas at the moment, guys. Oh, not having any ideas at the moment. So I thought I would, I just can't believe I've lost I've carried all this junk with me around all this time, and now I've lost my letter. Never mind. And I did have an elastic band, which I don't like, but they do the job. So I keep that in there. So that becomes my little tiny book. So that one is, again, just a little bit bigger than A6. And it does have this. This seems to me my magic little thing, because I do tend to like squares. I write neater in squares, and so all my bullet journaling is always in squares. I tend to write a lot nicer. So what I thought I would do for this one is to put one in here as well. So I think what I might do with this one is actually have it as a diary. I don't normally do a diary, but because it's not got dates on it, I might be okay with that. So, I mean, I could keep it till next year, I suppose. We'll see. But this one seems to be just nice and handy to hold. And it fits nicely in most handbags. So, again, that's quite nice. I might go back. I might do a video on my bullet journal system in the Filofax, because my little purse is broken, my little coin purse. So I thought if I go back to my little Filofax, my gorgeous tiny Filofax, it's the Holbein. It's an A6, so it's this size. It's fallen out, isn't it? It's this size, but it's the wallet one. It's soft leather, and I like the fact, because it's a Filofax, you can move things about in it, and there is something quite good about that. I love the bullet journal system because it's simple, but I like sometimes think, oh well, I want that over there with planning, and I want that over there with the diaries. So I might do a video on getting organised, because obviously with all these channels and this headache, I would think this is from school. So it's quite old, is that little one. I've got the 12-inch ones, but this is a little diddy one, and I thought that was quite pretty. I'm just trying to think. It can't be too old because it's got centimetres on it. Ah, it's not that old because it doesn't have inches on it, does it? No, it doesn't have, I don't think it has inches on it. No. I think they're centimetres. It should have a C. Oh, it has a cm there. But it's not that old, but it's probably from school, I think. Long time ago. So this, I'll go to that one in a minute. This one is the Derwent Bullet. It's not in there. And again, I thought I might be a bit more creative, because I'm not being very creative at the minute. So when you open this beautiful box, which obviously we've got to keep, it gives you all the information about bullet journal set. And you get 4 pens. And the reason it's not in there is because it's actually in my... I have a handbag, a Diddy handbag, and I also have a bag that goes everywhere with me. So it's got medication, it's got breathing things in it, it's got the chargers, and it's got the iPad, and it also has this. So when you actually put your Derwent bullet journal together, and this is A5 size, and again, it's a nice size. It has the little band for your pens, and it reminds me of a Moleskine, because at the back, and I've got a little metal ruler here, which again I'm going to tie to one of these. It has 3 page bookmarks, so I thought I might tie the grey one onto there, and then I have a ruler. But if you didn't want to do that, it would slip into there. There is a pocket at the back, like the Moleskine. And this is dots. Now, I'm not normally a dotty person, but I thought with the ruler and with a silver pen, I think this is a lime grey and a brown, I could be a bit more creative, and then you get a 0.8 and a 0.3. And again, I just thought that might give me a little bit of more creativity. And again, the little book is for in my handbag, oopsie, everywhere. But then I'm not a very neat writer, so this is just everything I need with me and I have to have kind of thing. This one is more, I can be more creative, and I can kind of do what everybody else make these beautiful creative, oh, I can't just focus on that, sorry guys, when they have all these creative, colourful, everyday, what I did every day kind of thing. And I'm not sure if I'll get quite to that stage, but I can pretty it up a bit, if it makes any sense. So it's quite pretty. So that's the idea behind that one. And that will be in my little bag, so it'll be by my side when I'm on the sofa, if I'm in the car. When I go to hospital, I can sit and have a play. And it's not a bad size. And I like the fact we've got that little flap, because I hate the fact that books fly open and kind of get a little bit dog-eared. And I like the round corner. I'm a bit of a round corner girl. I think it's with the arthritis. I just like the round corners. So that's kind of going to be a little bit more a prettier version of my dead boring bullet journal. And then, of course, what we found, again, on the website at the same time, was the Derwent sketching journal set. And again, I thought, right, I need to sketch more. I need to do more bunny designs. I need to do, this is what it looks like when you open it up. You get the pen loop and you get 4 pens, and then underneath, I haven't actually opened this yet, so we'll tip it out, and there's the baby underneath. So this is the Derwent sketching. This Derwent sketching. I've not actually looked at this yet. And it's an ivory colour paper, and I'm thinking this is going to take a little bit of water, not much, but it will take a little bit. So what you do with it is you take these out of here and pop them out. And if you can see, there's loops through there. So this goes, and this is the fiddly bit because the brain is not working properly yet again. We'll pop that on the inside one. I mean, you could put it on the back if you wanted. And the way it sits, of course you have to get it. Hands don't work as well as the brain today. So when you get it on, like this, you can then pop your pens in. Now, you won't have a lot of difficulty. My problem is my hands don't work, so my fingers really don't work. But once they're in, they're in. You can put them in left to right, or right to left. Once they've been in, they're fine. It's just because they're nice and tight, so obviously you don't want your pens going anywhere. And again, that's what I love, that they're not going to go anywhere. So we've got, I think they are the same pens. We'll just double check in a second. Now, I like my rotary pen, but I will use these. I probably might keep these, but I like my rotary pen, my permanent rotary pen. And again, you know, I'm going to put that under there, and I put my, I would just use a #1 brush if I'm doing my designs, because I don't have big spaces, and this is not watercolour paper, but it will take the #1 brush. So I probably would find that this is going to be my, I'm looking for a loop. So that's what I'm going to take with me. So I've got some sketching pencils, I've got my colours if I want them, and I've got this little watercolour pen. You could put those two in there. I probably won't do these pens, these liner pens. I'll keep them for the other thing, and I'll just have my rotary pen, purely because I love the fact it's so line, and I don't draw like this. I do precise lines, so I think my rotary pen will get me back into the swing of it. I'm hoping so. And then if that will sit in there, I think that it would go back in there. It's just that paintbrush that's just keeping it out. You can keep it in there to keep it nice. I do like the box. I'd have to just put that at a funny angle to get it in there, because I've bunched everything up now, so it would go in there. And then you've got your little watercolour set if you wanted to keep it in there, but there's no need to have the box. I've just got this thing about boxes. I do like boxes, I have to say. I'm a bit of a box girl. So there's my two new Christmassy things. Has anybody got any questions? Don't know if I've broken chat. I've got chat. I'm going to pop that one in there. We still have the babies. So there's Dudley. Dudley, bubbies, babies. Hello, darling. Here he comes. Come on. Babies, babies. And Alf Master, Alfie. Alfie loves, does nothing but chase after him. Of course, Bungle is over there. We've got a bit of an overcast day. I didn't put the ivy and the holly on the tree. I was so poorly. We just had a very plain Christmas day. Headaches tend to do that to you. It doesn't matter what day it is, you don't really care. Something that I bought quite a few months ago from Wilko's, which is a shop we have in the UK. Not playing tag in here, Alfie, you're too big. Was this little health and happiness planner. And it was £2.50. Of course, it's before I saw the other lovely ones. And this is the Tight Yorkshire Lass in me. So this is a health and happiness planner. And this is one thing that I'm going to be working through. I've got to try and get rid of this headache. And so on the Disabled Health and Happiness channel, I'll be working through this. And so it's, you track your mood and what's going on. I'm going to be tracking my headache, my favourite friend, what medication I'm taking, what I'm not taking, what I do, what helps, what doesn't help, and see if I can try to get to the bottom of this headache. So you have a mood tracker. I don't like doing this, but I need to do it because I normally try to forget what I've got, but I can't at the minute. So we have that one. Then we say, don't just exist, live, don't just sleep, dream, and don't just think, feel. And this one is setting goals, measuring, planning. Why is this important to me? When will I achieve this? And how will I reward myself? So we've got goals, and again, just something to do to kind of sort yourself out a bit, because I'm falling to pieces at the minute. So then we've got be present every single extraordinary moment. This is a sleep pattern. So again, this is tracking your sleep, which I need to do because, you know, I wake up after 3 hours with my headache wakes me up. So again, that's not really what I want. And odd times I wake up without my headache, but most of the time I wake up with my headache. So It's just something to kind of do, and it's not probably for a month or so, a couple of months, probably a month. It's not something you want to do all the time because you get obsessed with it, but it's something that you could just do for a short time, and you can then assess what's happening with your body, because I can't remember one thing to the other. And then we have mindfulness, which is activity and thoughts. That would be very interesting because I have a lot of ideas and I never actually do anything with them because I either forget or I think I'm not good enough or I can't do it and I talk myself out of it. So that would be quite good for me. And then at the end, the next one we've got, don't look backwards, you're not going that way. This is healthy lifestyle. Now, what I'm looking at is Chinese medicine and feng shui and I can't remember what you call it. One of the part of it is called that. Alfie, that's naughty. Can you get down, please? Alfie, can you get down, please? Would you like to go in there? You're going to be a good boy. Yes, you're going to be a good boy. Can you be a good boy? You can't sit on Mummy's knee. Oh, we'll have to have an Alfie moment. Sorry, guys, I'll come back to that in a second. Here's the Alf Master. And this is my new chair. I bought a snuggle chair. I found a snuggle chair. And, of course, the Alfie's snuggling on it, aren't we? Good morning, Alfie. So we've only got one kitten left now, haven't we, guys? We've got one kitten. Can you sit not on the arm? There's all that space. It's a huge, huge snuggle chair. Huge. And I'm going to get rid of the old sofa, but not just yet. There's no kittens anywhere. Right, you can behave yourself now. You going to behave yourself now? Can't get any closer to Mummy, can you? You're going to ruin the arm, aren't you? Yes, you're going to be a good boy. We have quite a miserable day in the UK. It's a grey day today, isn't it? And Alfie loves the little kitten. Sorry about that, guys. We had a bit of a... I can't get... Oops. I don't seem to have any chat, guys. Sorry, I don't know what I've done with chat. Let me have a look at my phone. Oh, thank you for doing that. Alfie loves the kitten. Here he is. Oh, gosh, sorry, guys. Got my thumb on it. Hi, Mr. Dudley. Dudley's still looking for a home. Hi, Duddles. Dudley. Babies. Babies. Here he is, look. Duddles. All he wants to do is play with Bungle. He's got a little bit of gungy eyes, but he's so cute and he loves Bungle, don't you? He loves Bungle and he loves Alfie as well. You play with that. You need to play with that. And I really panicked when he was on his own because I thought he would be really struggling, having had all those kittens to play with, and within 2 days they'd all gone. And he was perfectly all right. Let me see if I can find chat, guys, and then I'll finish this little book off. Sorry, I'm a croaky, snotty old woman. Apologies for the cough. If I could get rid of the cough, that would be fine. If I could get rid of the headache, I'd be a happy girl. So I'm going to go to a Chinese herbalist because I've tried everything else, nothing works. So this one is about exercise, and I was looking at Qi, I can't pronounce it. It's a bit like Tai Chi, but it's different. And it's also about the diet as well. So I'm trying to do everything. Hello, darling. Hello, darling. And he purrs. The minute you stroke him, he purrs. I'm sorry, we'll have to have a kitten. Where's he going? Where's he going? He's going to make up a tea. Hello, darling. And he always looks like he's smiling. And he sits with his tongue out, which is a bit scary. Don't you? Do you think you're... There he goes. Oh, hi, guys. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. There he goes. Mr. Purr. Mr. Purr. Look, he's got a bit of gungy eyes, but he's getting there. But he's the last baby. The babies. He's the last baby. But he's so naughty. He's into everything. Everything's for him. Don't slide on that. And he's such a long, funny kitten, aren't you? You've got big ears and big legs, and I know, and he likes his belly rubbed. He's just a bit clawy, but we've cut his claws now. Oh, she hasn't cut that one. We've cut his claws because they were a little bit sharp. But he's such a delight, aren't you? It's his Duddles, and he loves dogs. So again, that's another thing good for him. No, don't jump on there. That's not good. So let me just see if I can get that up again. Oh, hi, Leanne. Hi, Nicotina. Hi, Melody. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Oh, my voice is getting squeaky. I wondered where I'd gone. Sorry, guys. Where did I go? No, we don't want the bum in the way. Thank you. We love you, but not that much. Thank you. I don't think I want you to sit there, little man. I know, you're beautiful. He loves to snuggle, don't you? You love to snuggle. Nice, thank you. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. He's had a run around now. You tired? Are you a tired boy? He's such a little purr boy. But he's got big ears and long legs. He's just a bit of a funny shape. He's not grown into himself yet, have you? But he needs a home before he gets past the cute stage, because he's a beautiful little boy. He's very clean. Apart from his gunky eyes, he's perfect. Oh, sorry, guys. Kitten cams. He is cute, Leanne, isn't he? He's gorgeous. He's such a cutie. And I was really panicking that he, as I say, within 2 days, he had a tabby brother who went, and he also had another black and white one, because they were the 3 amigos. And a lady came for 2 of them. And obviously it's a bit much to ask somebody to have 2 to have 3. He just sat and he was looking round for about an hour. Where's everybody gone? Where's everybody gone? Because, of course, all of a sudden... He plays tag. No, we're not playing tag. Alfie, cross. Get down. Alfie runs over the furniture like a kitten. Get down. But as I say, he snuggled with Samantha for about half an hour, and the next minute he was snuggled with the dog, and then he was snuggled with Bungle, and he was playing with Bungle, and it didn't take long for him and Bungle to have this kind of big brother, little brother thing. So that, again, that was quite cute. But he's a bit of a snuggle boy, aren't you? You're a bit of a snuggle boy. He likes to snuggle. He likes to be where you are. He likes to be in everything. When my daughter's doing a homework, a work for uni, he sits on the laptop. No, you're not going in there. You're not going in there. It's a pencil sharpener. I've got my Derwent pencil sharpener. And you're going to be just there, are you? Okay, then. Right. So that's about, I'm thinking about what I want to do for movement as well, because I've stopped moving about. So that's going to be on the health and wealth and happiness and kitten. Just don't knock those off, because we don't really want those to be on the floor, do we? I didn't expect to have a kitten. I didn't expect him to be here. I thought he'd be doing something else. Didn't we? We thought you'd be doing something else. So although he's got drops for his eyes, every other time we do his eyes, we do them with tea bags. Obviously not scalding tea bags, but tea bags. Can I get on now, please? Thank you. Oh, my goodness, what's Alfie got? Alfie? Oh, just bear with me, guys. Alfie is destroying... Do you know I could murder you? Oh, look what you've done. Samantha's going to kill you. He's just killed a mouse. If you're going to do that, Alfie, you're going to be out. Alfie Cross. And it always looks like a pigsty in here because there's only one King Charles and one kitten, and you'd think there were 16 tigers in here. I've seen zoos with big, huge animals tidier than that. Sit down and behave yourself. He's just destroyed the mouse. Oh, Samantha's going to murder you. Honestly, Alfie's just... Oh, just bad. Goodness me, guys. He does, he thinks he's a cat. Yes, well, it isn't Tai Chi. Bear with me a second. It isn't Tai Chi. It's the one called the... Oh, my goodness me, like the dragon. I did have a phone somewhere. I bought quite a few books. And I'm going to do a very, very strict diet because of these purines and trying to get rid of them naturally, which is really difficult. Alfie Cross, can you be good? No, can't be. So it's not Tai Chi. It's oh my goodness me. I will tell you in a second, guys. I just cannot get rid of this headache, guys, and it's getting on my nerves. Let me see what it's called. The Dragon's Way. So I've been looking into traditional Chinese medicine, and it's Qi. I can't pronounce it, but it's spelt Qi, which is the Qi, Gong, and it's there's different movements, but I don't think it's as moving as fast as Tai Chi, but it's very similar, I think. Yes, it is. It's very, very similar. I mean, I've asked hubby, because we're supposed to go to the gym, and I've been poorly, but I've asked him to take me to, because they do Tai Chi at DW. So I said, we'll go there twice a week and do that. But this is something that I need to do on my own. And I think because it's diet and it's... Alfie Cross, if you'll destroy that cushion, I shall... Stop it. He's having his mad half hour. You are naughty, Alfie Cross. Alfie, he thinks the snuggle chair was for him. And again, because it's kind of the whole package, it will hopefully, when I do get the bad headaches, it will do something to it, if that makes any sense. Look at this bad puppy. Look at this. This is what he does. Alfie, that's naughty. Are you going to be a good boy? He stopped doing it now. Look at his hair. Scruffy boy. Alfie? No. Oh, it's just a bad puppy. So that's what I was going to have a look at. And I thought I'd try and do that for 6 months to see if I could really get rid of these crystals. And so, obviously, I'll be in the wheelchair or I'll be in the thingy chair, sitting down doing it. Not sure I can stand up. Oh, gosh, but I have to get rid of this headache, guys. Oh, hi, Robin. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So I thought, we've tried everything else, and I'm going for a wonderful MRI scan on my neck on Friday, I think. Alfie Cross, get down. He sits in the window like a kitten now, so he's lost his marbles. He didn't have many to start with. So again, I don't want to focus on it, but I need to focus on it for a short while so that I can look back and say, well, this is happening at certain times, and you need to do that. It's always good if you have a problem, whatever it is. Even if it's a bad neighbour or if anything occurs, bad boyfriend, husband, you write things down, the date and the time and what happened. And then you can look back, because when you're in it, you can't always remember and put it in perspective. So this is, again, a few months, it looks like, to put the date. And then what I can then go back to the doctors and say is, look, I've done this, he's just people. We've got lots of cat boys. Alfie, Cross, come here. Alfie, Puss, Puss, come here. Have you just picked up a... No, you haven't. Good boy. Where's your toys? Alfie got so many toys at Christmas. We could do a whole program. In fact, we probably might do on Alfie's World. We'll do what Alfie got for Christmas, and it wasn't a gorgeous mouse. So that was the plan. Is that then I can go back and I can go to somebody and say, look, I've tried all this. This is what I've done, and either it's worked or it hasn't worked. You know, what can we do next? So that's the plan. I find it really difficult to concentrate on anything at the moment. So that was the little book, which again I thought for £2.50 wasn't going to break the bank, and yet that is going to store an awful lot of information in a few months when I've done what I want to do. So it's got moods, sleep. So I'll take that off, and I'm going to start that on the 1st. So we need to watch this space, and that will be on the other channel. That's on the health and happiness channel, which will have the diet and the fitness and what helps and what doesn't help and things like that. Has anybody got any questions? I'm having to try to drink quite a lot to get rid of this head. Here's Alfie's. I wouldn't call him funny. Oh, this is one of his toys. I can turn him round. Here he is. I've got a long cable. That's Alfie, and in the other side, on the other side of there, and he's knocked all the table things off. I was so poorly, we didn't even move the tablecloth. And then I folded it up and somebody's played with it. So this is my gorgeous, I'm not sure how long it's going to last, my snuggle chair. It's a bit, so when I get in there, I can't once. And Alfie's toy has got a gunky, look at his face, absolutely obsessed with it. I'm not taking it. And he's gone. Excuse me, I don't want you to have it on the sofa really, because it gets a bit yucky. So Alfie loves his chew toy, and he's going to insist on sitting on the new sofa with his chew toy. I didn't want you to do that, Alfie, because it's monkey. Can you go put it on the other sofa? I'm just going to move him because I don't really want him to trash it before I've used it. Alfie thinks everything's put on the world. Right. If you're going to be on there, you're going on a cushion. Come on. Off. Good boy. Go sit over there. There we go. Look. There we go. Can't really trash everything, Alfie. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, that's another bobble off the tree. Oh, there we go. Look, Alfie's in jail. Yes. Alfie's in jail. Alfie, you'll be a good boy now. Does that look the face of an angel? No. Gosh, has anybody got any questions, guys? Whoa. Head. So that was that little find. I got lots and lots of other bits and pieces as well. I bought a new electric mixer. No, I didn't. It's not a mixer. It's a, what do we call it? I can't remember what we call it. A food processor. And then I found this little book and I thought, well, that would be quite interesting. But I bought that before. So I think I'm going to give this to my daughter. Because obviously she's the vegetarian and I've given her my old mixer. She's got my old Kenwood, which she's quite happy about because she likes to make cakes. So for a student to want to cook, that's quite good as well. And I bought this last year and I never used it. So I thought colouring wise, I might work through this one as well. And because of my rotary pen's the same size, I can doodle around it. So I'm going to be working through this book. I think I did a little bit when I first got it. Yes, I did a little bit. So I thought I could work through this. And again, it's trying to organise. You're always better on the first of the year. And trying to organise what you want to do. Change a few things that you want to change, and but get into a routine that is healthier for you, whether you're stopping smoking or doing whatever you're doing. And I think, oh, I've got some good news as well. I'm going to be a granny. I'd forgotten that. Sorry, guys. Memory sieve. I'm going to be a granny. My oldest daughter's going to have a baby at the end of the year, so I'm going to be a granny, so I'm going to start knitting. But I'm not knitting, I'm going to crochet. So let's have a look in here and see what we've got. Let's see what we want to colour today. So, oh, I didn't do the butterfly. I didn't do the butterfly, did I? And I had all the plans to do all the things, and now it's come to it. I'm not sure I want to do it. I always like this one. I said I quite like the graphy tint on this, and I think I have coloured this in something. Let's have a look. So I did buy one or two books. I bought a lovely book called The Buddha Bowl. I'll go get that little book for a second and then we'll do some colouring. I'm not sure which book I'm going to be working in, but we'll do some colouring. Probably use my little book because it's easier. My little watercolour book, because it's just a bit easier and things have got to be a little bit easy today. Are you being good guys or are you being bad guys? Sounds like a bauble to me. A bauble. Who's got the bauble? So I found a few of these books, and then sometimes you go on the internet and you look at things and look at things, and from this led to this The Dragon's Way and the Chinese medicine. But I have a couple of Buddha cookery books from quite a long time ago because they're vegan, vegetarian. And I did find this one. And again, I'm going to give this to my daughter because it's not going to do very much for me. It's not so bad. I am going to photograph and make a cookbook on my iPad that things that I definitely can have, because there's a lot of vegetables I can't have and a lot of fruits. It's not a case of just eating certain things. Most of the things in here I can have, but I like this because it was simple. So this one was called the Buddha Bowls, and basically you have a bowl for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And again, that appealed to me as well, because whatever I do has got to be fairly quick. One sad note is I love porridge. I love porridge oats and I like overnight oats. I can't have porridge anymore. So that oats are out. But I can have the milled one, and I can't think what it's called. But we do have a quinoa porridge in here as well, so that got me a bit excited. So although you can't have certain things, it's just rearranging. Just rearrange. I'm just laughing. Somebody sitting next to me. You're not a kitten sitting on the chair, Alf. No. Can we sit down there, please? Can we please sit down there? Be a good boy. Where's your chew? Where's your toy? It's over there. Ow. It's over there, Alf. She says, I want attention, Mummy. Stroke me, Mummy. Now. Come on. We're not having an Alf. You're going to slip off there. You're going to slip off because you're plump. Alfie. Oh, gosh. No. You're not cute, Alfie. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Where was it? No, that's it. Go find your toy. Good boy. Sit down. Good boy. So I thought this would be a good, and again, another little book, but I bought the others and then I saw this one online, so I bought it. There's a couple of other books that, again, you don't want to follow too many books. So, of course, I bought these months ago. So the one of the books I want to have sent off for, and that's the beauty of the internet, because you can shop anytime you like, which is, it's good. Let me have a look what it's called. Golly gumdrops. Can't seem to find it. It's just what I need. Just bear with me a second. This will this is the one I tried to download as an ebook and it wouldn't have it. But this one's called Foods for the Season, Eat Well and Stay Healthy the Traditional Chinese Way. And I can't seem to download it, but this is the book. So I thought that when I've read some of that looked quite a good book. So I think I've got that one, and then there's one other, because again you can't, I think this is the and then there's this the art and science of Chinese energy healing. And again, years and years ago, I did feng shui my house, and it's got messy again. And again, my bedroom is just a mess at the minute. And again, I think that's got the chi can't flow right. So it's going to be a kind of a complete rechange of how I'm living at the moment. And it may not work, but I know that when the chi for the feng shui, I always have to have a desk facing outwards. Even though this room would be better if my desk was, I had my back to the door, I can't do that because I know I'm uncomfortable and I don't function well. So I know that some of it does work. So you have to try things and see if they work for you. So that's where we are. But that would be all on the health and happiness and diet and fitness channel, and see how we get on. Because I do love, I'm healthiest when I'm vegan, I have to say. I am healthiest. And I've had so many bad attacks at the minute. In fact, we went to a party last night and I drank water. I did have one mouthful of gin and tonic and then I had to give it to my daughter. So, and that has never been known before. So things are changing around here. Has anybody else got any questions? Yes, I have been shopping. Alfie was very spoiled. Oh, trying to read chat. Sorry, guys. It just disappears quick. See if I can get it on here. For some reason, it disappears really quickly. Let me see if I can get it on here because it would be easier not to have to keep upsetting the thing. Right, let's see if I can get it on here. Ah, that's better. I can read that now. Oh yes, I don't have enough male energy. Yes, Melody. With the chi, you've got heat and cold. You've got the 5 elements, and then you've got the everything's. And the other thing you have as well is, if you're feeling really, really hot and bothered, which this headache makes me do, then you need to have a cooling food. And it sounds ridiculous, but there's always the old-fashioned cool as a cucumber expression. And you do feel different when you eat different foods. And again, that's just something that I'm going to try to rebalance everything. But I also thought about acupuncture for the pain in the headache, and a chiropractic? And there's the other one where they nip the crystals out. It's quite painful, but again, I need rid of these crystals. They're in every joint. No, we're not having a mad half hour. This is what it's like all day, guys. Look, he's up there. I'm the king of the castle, and Trouble is on the sofa. Trouble's on the sofa. Alfie, you're not destroying that. This is why we don't have any posh furniture in here. Because he just is a bad puppy. Alfie cross. He's crawling on a cushion now. I'm not sure Alfie's all there. We were never sure Alfie was all there, but Alfie, you sit down and be a good boy. No. And of course, he's sitting there going, oh, that's boring. Don't know where Bungle is. Let me just see if I can put that there. No, to go that way. Has anybody got any questions? I'll have a look at that, Melody. Yes, I'm sure that might be it. But I definitely need to do something about this headache because it is getting on my nerves. It is getting on my nerves. Oh, Melody says, I went to Cairo. Oh, wow. Melody says a migraine was cured. That's brilliant. I think it's the crystals in the neck, but nobody's taking any notice of me. But yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, I think you can be referred by the doctor, but then you have to, but my problem is I get in there and I'm so fuddled. I can't remember what I was going to ask him. So again, that's another thing that I've got, like the channel, I was thinking about giving it up because it's just a load of waffle and there's no content in there at all. I can't concentrate on anything to actually make anything work. So I thought what I might do is, that's a little bit more. The room is still Christmassified. So everything's kind of shoved in the corner behind me. Again, that's something else I need to do. That's what I meant to do. So again, oh gosh, the head is like, I mean, my daughter's had a bit of a giggle and a laugh and got quite pickled. And they'll have a hangover this morning, but I've got a banging hangover this morning. And I drank water, so it gets on your nerves a little bit. I'm just trying to think. I want to play a bit with these pencils because I do love my Derwent pencils. I keep an eye out for a second-hand set of Inktense pencils because mine are really old. But I do like my pencils. So I think what I might do is I'm going to use my water brush and I'm going to scribble a little bit of colour with the water brush. So if you don't want to make this book with the squares, you can still use this method of scribbling a little bit of colour. Now, I do use this book as a reference, I have to say. Now, Alfie's got his squeaky toy. Alfie had squeaky toys, he had flashing light toys, he had food toys. And the neighbour next door actually baked him some Christmas decorations in dog treats. So he's been having those as well. So he's been a good boy. So I use this, although I use, like I was looking at this one. This is one of my favourite ones because it's a bit shorter. Oh, thank you, darling. The burnt carmine. You look at the end and yeah, we know what burnt carmine looks like, but we don't have a scale of how strong it is. He's been really naughty, Nigel. He's jumping about. Yeah, he thinks it's Christmas again. So if we look at carmine, and I don't know where it should be with the purples. It's number 65, so it's down here somewhere, isn't it? Did I move it? I thought I'd moved. I moved it across with the pinks, didn't I? Let me have a look. No, I didn't. It's the only one I keep in its right order. And it's down here somewhere, isn't it? Oh, 66. No, I did move it. I did move it.
I call it the Abbey, but there's a service on them. I didn't want it.
All right, then. Thank you. I left my. I can't find burnt carmine. Ah, there it is. I put it with the reds. So I put burnt carmine here, but again, when you look at that tip, we can see it's a purple red, and we know burnt carmine is a purple red. But here we can see that it can be a pale, but like a dusky pale pink. But we can have the really dark as well. So I always like to look at this, because when you want to scribble a little bit of colour, you can see that if you put a little bit of colour here, and then you can, if we say on that petal there, and then we manoeuvre that with a damp brush, we are going to get that effect. I'll show you without the plastic, that might be better. So we can go from dark to light, and that's the watercolour effect, and that's watercolouring. And it's a really nice way to work. Now, the easiest way to work is actually from the little book, but in fact, we could probably do both and see if we can get the same effect. I just like my little book. I don't know where my other little book is. I've lost everything at the moment. So I've got my book there. and then I can flip. So if you just had a normal, let's see if I've got this water brush. And for some reason I can't find any of my water brushes. I don't know what I've done with them. And I should have asked hubby to fill this up and I forgot. You just touch and go. But there's two methods. Well, there's three methods actually. Oh my goodness me, that's a bit, because it's new, it must be a bit stiff. Let me just see if I can put my hand on my, I can't. So I just asked hubby if he'll put some water in this for me. And apologies guys, the head is banging. Right, so bless him, he's bought me a herbal tea. I've gone back onto herbal teas. I've got to be a bit careful because if you give up tea or coffee, you will get a very, very bad headache. So I've got to be a little bit careful with that. I did this one in a pail. But again, I want it easy today. It's got to be easy and it's got to be kind of, I can't remember how I did the other one. Let me have a look. It's in here. This might tell me. Let me have a look. Oh, I think that was, it looks like it's a crayon. Can't remember what I used for this one. Oh, this is the Inktense, I think, wasn't it? I used, that's the one I did when I was away. So that was this Inktense travel set. That's what that one was, with the Derwent water brush when I was on the ferry. Yes, that's what I did. I thought I had. And I did that one as well. So actually, it'll be quite nice to do a pale version, if that's the right expression that I need. Just, oops, ask hubby. I'm just thinking, can I put, I normally have water about, but because as I say, this has been so you can do two ways. I just have to, I've asked him, he's not about. Let's see if I can just, I tried to shout Dad, but I didn't think it worked. I don't think it worked. Oh, thank you, Melody. I'll have to try that one. I do know that this bit here, when it's really sore, oh, like now, this is your kidneys. But I'm on quite a lot of medication, and I know my kidneys don't like that. So, but you know that bit there, when it's tender, that's your kidney function. So try and drink a little bit more and keep off the alcohol. And get off the sofa. Hey, Alfie, please. Thank you. You're going to be a good boy. Go sit down, please, now. Well, you're next to me. You can't be on me. Alfie's a bit clingy at the minute. He's a bit clingy. So I shall do half the page with the pencil, half the page touching the paper palette, and you can see that I don't think there's a lot of difference. You might have a bit of practice to get them exact, because they're two easy ways, two different ways to work. I just got to get some water, guys. I'll ask Kerby to fill this up for me. think that's kidneys. I think that's kidneys. And there's the reflexology was the other one with the feet as well. And the fact that I did a fine pressure point halfway up the kneecap for pseudo gout. To relieve gout, and then I forgot to do it because it's remembering to do things. And again, that's why if you're writing down things when you get into bed, things that have happened, things you've done, then that's when you remember, oh, I haven't done such and such. And the other thing I'm going to do as well is I've got into the habit of staying up till midnight, and I need that extra little bit of time. So I'm going to start to go to bed at 9. And then I've got an hour to kind of wind down to get my sleep pattern. Although my new mattress, which is awesome, I have a mattress topper, and I don't have as much pain. So again, that's another thing I've looked at and done. So the arthritic pain when I'm sitting and lying in bed isn't as bad, purely by buying a different bed. So again, sometimes you have to think outside the box. That's naughty. So I'm desperate for water, guys. I don't know how I'm going to do this. If I had a dish, I just don't have anything handy. I could use this. We'll do this, I think. I found a pot, so we'll put water in here out of my water dish. So how I do this is I nip it, tip it up, and you can see you get a drop in, and I nip it. Now it's easy if you do it under the sink and just run the sink, run the tap rather. Then you bend that and do that. And you do it about 5 to 6 times, and it's full. So it's not too much effort, it's just messy. If you don't do it by the tap, but just getting up at the minute wasn't an option. So that's my new brush that I've my hands must be bad because I can't do that. And then I'm going to use I can't find my other one. I didn't really want to use this because I was going to give this to my daughter, but I don't know where mine is, but what I'm going to do is just borrow the sponge from it. I'm just going to borrow the sponge. Oh, wait a minute, I should have a sponge. I don't really want to use that. Again, I want to use things more. So I've had this for many years. A friend of mine bought me this little pouch, and I'm supposed to put all sorts of watercolour things in it. So I've got sponges and watercolour things in there. And again, it's something that it's a caddy, so you can carry it around with the room. Keep everything neat and tidy. So again, another little thing that I want to have on hand that I can use. So I'm sure that I can do that with. And then that wants to be on a dish, which we don't have. I've just broken my little bin, so I'll put that on top. I've broken my bin. So we want some kind of sponge. I'm trying not to use the baby wipes, although I am because they're just a waste to the planet. So I'll work on that little flower there. Oh, I spilt water. Oh, for goodness sake, Heather misses. have to wait for that to dry. I'll come back to that one. So I've got my little mushrooms. I'd normally like half and half, but Geranium Lake is a deep vermilion. I think Geranium Lake is probably the nearest. So let's have a look at Geranium Lake. So that's going to be my mushroom colour. I'm not going to scratch the... sorry guys, here's the bungle. Hi Bung! Bungle! Puss, puss, puss. This is Bungle. Bungle! Hello darling. Bungle! Babies! Bungle! This is Big Bungle. He's beautiful. Hi Bung! Do you like me to move that for you? Hello darling. Bungs! This is little Bungle. Bungle! Psst, 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 psst. He likes to play tag with them as well. He plays tag with them as well. Bless him. Sorry about that. We're seeing everybody now, apart from Betsy, who's doing quite well, and Toffee. Toffee's outside. I'm going to do the mushrooms purely because I've just wet that page and it will run, so I have to leave it. So let's see if we can... So we've got some mushroom. So what I want to do is, if I scratch a little bit there, and this is, you can do this... This is the beauty of the Derwent watercolour pencils, is you can scribble over the top. And you can mix your own colour. And then you can take this colour and mix it, and then as you manipulate it to the top, you have a lovely natural highlight with very little effort. Now the other way to do it is to just touch the colour, little circle, and then colour around it, but you can actually... And this was one of the other things that I said for somebody in hospital, or somebody who's not very well, or somebody that doesn't have the pencils or the pencils, the water-based products. You can scratch the colour in and send them to it, so you can fill all this book with colours. And again, this one won't move. This is a pencil, it won't move, so you don't have to put anything on it. You just have to scratch the colour round. So that one is the mushroom colour. And then we can think about the stem. So we can have straw. I quite like straw yellow. I like straw yellow. We are right on the edge of that page at the minute. So we've got straw yellow there. And then if we look at the fawns on this side here, there's a raw sienna, there's a yellow ochre, and there's a raw umber. And these are very similar, these three are the raw brown ochre, raw sienna, and golden brown. When you look at them at the top, they look very similar. So what I now need to look here at my colours. So I've got the raw umber is this one. I've got brown ochre is this one, and raw sienna is this one. So there is a slight difference in warmth. So the raw sienna is warmer. I like the raw umber because it's a mushroomy colour here-ish. So raw umber, and again, I wouldn't have picked that one because I was just looking at a colour at the end. So again, I like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of colour down here, and I'm going to leave that. And then we want a bit of a browny colour under there. So we've got Van Dyke Brown, looks a bit dark. There's a burnt yellow ochre, a copper beech, a little bit of copper beech. And again, just that bit there, nothing else, just that bit. And you could do this for children as well. You could do this if you wanted your children to for colouring. You don't want to give them your really expensive, nice pencils. So you could do this and then just give them a water brush. So you could work all the way through the book like that, and then just send the book with a water brush, and the person receiving it can then pick up the water brush and decide, okay, then I'm going to have that yellow going down there, and then I'm going to just put that into there. Just bear with me a second, Nigel. Just bear with me a second. So what we have is now a little bit of a watercolour effect, all dry, there's no mess, nobody can spill anything. Somebody could do this in hospital and be quite content, and of course they don't have all the pencils everywhere because all the colour's been done. So I really do like that idea. Has anybody got any questions? So thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope everybody's okay. Have I seen everybody? I do have to remember to keep drinking. Again, I think that's quite good for you. I think these are quite orangey colours. I don't normally leave the pencils out, but I am doing because I'll forget what I'm using. So this one, I think he's going to be a bit of an orange or a red. And again, we can scratch a different bit of colour in there. But if you wanted that colour that I quite like, and you manipulate as much as you want. The more you manipulate, the flatter the colour. So that's a flat colour because he's underneath. But if just a little bit, you get that lovely highlight. And the best way to do that is to photocopy a page and fill the page. I did this with the Colin Thompson book with all the books in it. And I photocopied it, and it took me all weekend to do it. But after I'd done that, I knew how much dampness to use, and I used it on photocopy paper. And photocopy paper is a good practice because a lot of books are thicker. But if you do get one that's thin, you can work that thin. And especially with this brush, because if you activate just the tip, you just get a little bit of dampness. If you activate a lot of it, you get a lot of dampness. And that's why this brush is perfect for watercolour brushes. So for watercolour pages. And again, this is not watercolour paper. But it will take that just a little bit. You touch the colour, you manipulate it where you want it, and then you leave it. You don't touch it again. Oh, hi Suzanne, welcome to Bunny's Designs. You've missed the Alfie Cam, he's been about. We don't know what he's doing now, he's gone off somewhere. We're not sure what he's doing now because he's gone off somewhere. And we'd like to say bless his little socks, but we're not sure. So I'm going to put a little bit of this gorgeous Naples yellow, number 7. With, I think, a little bit of, Spectrum Orange, Yeah. I'm going to put a little bit of Spectrum Orange in there. And again, there's no need to have a sharp point, really, unless you had a really tiny space. So you could go all the way through with, I'm going to leave those two out because, or you could just leave them like this in the thing. You know they're the ones you're using. That's another way to do it, is to leave them. I think I'm going to put mine back into their boxes because I'm going to use them as a watercolour. And I think I want to do that. So I'm going to put a little bit of that onto there. So it has a bit of unity, and then we make sure that the brush is clean. Take off as much as we can. I prefer, I have to say, the sponge to the makeup sponge because we don't get it as dry, but it's fine. And then we're just going to manipulate. You can do it 2 ways. You can manipulate top to bottom, you get it stronger. But if you manipulate the paler colour first, and then go in here, and I've got a lovely little highlight with very little effort. That again, this is what I like. This is the therapy one. This is not, I'm going to spend hours on something. This is therapy. And then I've got a pale, I'm going to take that one out actually because I'll forget. I've got a paler green. This is May green, and again, just a little bit here to show that this is grass. And we're not going to get a watercolour effect on this because it's a flat colour. But we can on that one. But what we can do is then go in with, just touch the edge. And again, this is not particularly any effort. You can see there's a tiny bit on the end there. And you can just put a little bit of difference about. Because we can't scratch colour on here because it's damp. And we'll rub our page. But if you want to do it straight away, you can just give a little bit of something about. And the beauty of this is we can do backgrounds. And again, I don't normally do backgrounds, but you can do. So, oh, somebody's found the little squeaky birds. I'm not sure who that is that's playing with the squeaky bird. So we'll have an Alfie camera in a second, guys. Ah. Alfie Cross. Talking of which, Suzanne, you little sausage. Who got the chicken? Oh, another wet chicken. Right, come here, Alf. It is the Alf Master who's playing with the chicken. He thinks he's a puppy, Suzanne. He's been playing with this kitten for a few weeks now. And Alfie. Alfie. Come on. Alfie. Alfie. Here. Would you like your Christmas fix, Suzanne? Your Christmas fix. It's Alfie. Alfie. Hello. Hello, everybody. He didn't get his Christmas thing out. He didn't manage to get his Christmas thing because my voice was funny. There's the baby who got lots of toys and was spoilt, weren't you? He had lots of toys and he was spoilt. And he thinks I bought this cushion for this chair for him. This is a snuggle chair, which is huge, and he thinks it's his. But he also likes to run about with a kitten. Talking of which, I have a kitten. I've been attacked by a kitten. It's going to be one of those days, guys. Sorry. Yeah, Alfie thinks he's a kitten now. Oh my goodness, they do this all day. Yeah, if you can see them, this is what they do all day. Can we get down, please? Alfie thinks he's a kitten. Alfie. Excuse me, guys, sorry. I cannot shift this. I'm not sure about Precious. So this is the mad kitten, who's little Dudley. Dudley, puss, puss, and the Alfie. And they play all day, and I don't get anything done because I'm too busy watching. And they sleep together. I have to show you the photos really quickly. And they sleep together. Again, I was really, really worried that this kitten was going to kind of go to pieces because he'd lost his brothers and sisters. But he didn't. I'll snuggle with Alfie. So they did nothing but snuggle with each other. I snuggle with Alfie. Let's see if I can just get that to be. I'll get rid of the, oh, I can't get rid of the glare. So I snuggle with Alfie. And Alfie was, where's my boy? I love my puppy. Look at that. Snuggle. So it's been very good for Alfie as well. He's found a new baby. And they've been inseparable for about a week since the other kittens left, which is there's only Toffee that's not impressed. So yeah, they love each other. So that's been quite good for Alfie. But they do snuggle together all the time. They do. So again, that's quite good because we were worried that, I mean, they really are Mr. and Mr. Inseparable. Except for Alfie now thinks he can jump over the furniture and play with kitten toys because he thinks he's a cat. Oh, he's by my feet being a good boy. So there we go. I like the way you say it. Suzanne calls him her precious. It's not the word we use in this house. We do try to think of him as precious, but it doesn't always come out that way. So again, I like the fact we can just scribble a little bit of colour and pick up a brush. And this is where you can think a bit more about the colour. But I do like the watercolour effect without using a lot of water. I think I'm going to do this one a brown mushroom. I have a bronze there. So you could scribble all your colour in, and then you could take this on holiday with you and leave all the pencils at home. Where was that? Or you can, and if you don't put any colour on the top, you'll get even a lighter highlight as well. So, but this is practice. This will get you practice. So you can go to the top here, and then you work with the darker one. And then I can just put that down there. And then if you have a little bit on the brush, you can put it somewhere else, or you can leave it. But I think that's a lovely highlight. And again, after you've done a full one, a full page, you soon, excuse me, you soon get used to it. I think I kind of like the idea that all my mushrooms are the same. I'm a rather boring person. I do like all my mushrooms to be the same, even though these are clearly completely different mushrooms. Although we could change a habit of a lifetime, I suppose. And put that little bit of madder under there. And make sure that that's clean. And we just take a little bit of that colour up. And then when we get further down, we're picking up more colour, activating it. And of course, because this is a new Derwent No1, it has a lovely white tip. So now we do have some red. You see that little bit of tip of red there. So I'm going to go back into here, and I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to use it somewhere else, because tight Yorkshire lass. And then we'll take that up. And again, that was really simple, fairly quick, but I have two lovely highlights, which would have taken quite a while with a brush and with pencils rather, I should say. So again, I like the fact that this is definitely art for therapy. I'm working in Fantomorphia with my Derwent watercolour pencils, and I'm doing the scratch and go kind of scratch colour. I'm actually quite tempted to do different coloured mushrooms, which is something that I don't normally want to do, so put a little bit of that one on there. And then we've got straw yellow, and I must admit I do like that because it's not it's almost like an ochre is that one. And then we can push that down and then activate the darker colour. So when you're playing with your photocopy, this is when you start to manipulate up and down. Now that's enough mixing and enough rubbing of a paper that's not watercolour. So you can't mess about anymore, but actually I'm quite happy because I've got a little bit of a differentiate on there and I'm quite happy. So I don't want to touch that anymore. Then we've got a bronze, put a little bit of bronze under there. And the day after tomorrow, if I really wanted, I could quite easily put some more colour on and work very rich and very deep if I wanted. But this is the one that I take when I'm at hospital. This is the one that I just like to do for therapy. And I will be teaching this in the Art for Therapy Selby Abbey as well. And then I have a little bit of colour on there, so I can do two things. I can go down a stem, or I can go onto there. I think I might want that a bit darker, actually. That's a very pale stem, so actually it would have worked quite well. And then he's a bit darker there, so there's lots of different techniques. You can work dark, down and up. And then you can go up. So we've got that highlight in the middle. And again, if you do a photocopy, this is when you play with all these different techniques of light on top, light in the middle, dark, light, building up colour. Again, dry now, but wouldn't touch that tomorrow. But tomorrow, if I felt, actually I want some really darks under there, then I'd go for the darks. I'd do exactly the same thing, scribble a bit of dark on, and then dampen it. But remember, this is not a watercolour paper. If you want to work constantly like that, building up colour, wet and wet and wet when it's still damp, you need to be working in a book like the fairy book here, which is watercolour paper. Now, if you watch the video for these, oh, sorry, that's the wet chicken that's been alfifized. Sorry, it makes such a noise. So when you want to work like this, if there's a video on this one and on this one, this is the one you can put colour on and think, well, I want a bit more darker, a bit more shadow, and you work on top of it. So this one wants another layer because I want to make this very dark, and then he'll pop out a bit because at the minute it's very flat. But I did work a little bit in here, so worked a bit and then put a bit more in here. But this is watercolour paper. So I could work on her. Oh, because she's December Glow, I could do her. I might do her a bit later. I'll leave her out. And I probably will use the Derwent Inktense paints, I think. I think that's what I'll use. But I like this technique because most of our colouring books will take a little bit of that. Has anybody got any questions? So I'm using my Derwent watercolour pencils. And again, I've used them last week because you can use them as a pencil, but I've used them this week with the brush. And again, I love these pencils because you can use them as a pencil or you can use them as a watercolour. And again, I really like that because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass and I like to get my money's worth. So I need an ochre colour now. So we've got here, we've got Van Dyke Brown, we've got bronzes, brown ochres, golden brown looks quite nice. So again, scratch a little bit, and I've broken a lot of these long nibs. Again, that's broken, but just turn it round and gently scratch. And even though it's broken, it's fine because it's going to be protected, so I can still use it. Because I'm not going to get rid of that point, it's pure colour, is that? So, and if we wanted, again, this is the beauty of this way of working, is we can put a bit of darker if we want. So we're mixing colours on dry on the page. You can't do that with any other medium. It's awesome, and it makes you want to, you can work with several different colours. And when you're colour mixing, you'll know you can't do that, because if you do that with ordinary colours, you'll end up with mud. but of course with the Derwent watercolour pencils you don't. So again, I absolutely love that. So down here now we've got quite dark, so if we come up, this is going to be quite dark, and then just manipulate it so we can keep the highlight on that bottom lip. And if we put a dark background in the background there, those highlights are going to really pop up. And again, I like this because it's really, really quick. Oh, sorry, Suzanne, what did you say? Oh, thank you, Suzanne, thank you. So, again, we've got different colours for mushrooms. So there's a raw sienna and a brown ochre. And again, if I'm not sure, I'm going to look at my little book. So that's the golden brown is orangier, the raw sienna is lighter, and I don't normally get all my pencils out, but again we can have a bit of something else going on there. And as I am going to be putting these, because I'm not taking these out with me. This is perfect if I'm going away. I'm not going to be going away for a while, so these are going to go back in the pencils. So I'm not nipping them out, I'm just lifting them up. So these are going back in my beautiful boxes, what boxes they arrived in. I think I've got a bit of scarlet, a pale vermilion there, so I think we have a bit of pale vermilion. And we can warm that mushroom up a little bit. And again, I did a video on the Kerby Rosanes pineapple page, and I think that's the one that I've used. I think I used 16 colours. Let's see if I can find the pineapple page. There's 16 colours scratched next to each other like this. And if you did 16 watercolours, you would end up with mud. Now that's the Inktense. Again, scratching colour, mixing it on the paper. And then we can have the lovely watercolour effects here as well. And then this one is the Derwent watercolour pencils. And I love the fact that we have got some gorgeous colours. So there's, I think there's 7 or 8 greens and 3 or 4 browns in there, and yellows and blues. And then I've just manipulated it round to mix it so that they look the same. But if I get them both on, that's Inktense pencil and that's Derwent watercolour pencil. And this is why I said if I had the choice of just the one, I would choose the Derwent watercolour pencils. I do have some lovely highlights here. Again, this is the same method. Scratch a bit of colour and then manipulate it. And this one is the same. But I just like these watercolours a little bit more. He's under the table. No, he's not. He's gone now. So again, I do like my Derwent, and these are professional watercolours. This one will move a little bit because there's a lot of pigment on here. And remember what we said, if I wanted to rub across here, this is Inktense pencil, it wouldn't, but this would, because remember we need the ratio of a lot of water to fix the Inktense pencils. This one will always move because it's a professional watercolour. The Derwent watercolour pencil, I just love some of these highlights. Very easy, very simple to get that effect. If you were doing that with a pencil, you'd have to rub and scrub for ages. So I love the fact that it's easy, it's quick, and there's something nice about working with nice things. So let me move that across. So we've got, this is the little boy, look. And I've got a bunny rabbit for a girl.
Betsy was asleep on the carpet, Mum.
Was she?
Yeah.
Betsy's doing really well. Oh, look at the baby. Look at Bungle. Isn't he beautiful? Look at Bungle. He's so big. He's like a big bear. He's like a big, big fluffy bear. Hi, Bung.
Yeah, she's asleep right in the carpet.
Look at Bungle. He's beautiful. He's still snotty though, Bung. Yep, he's still snotty.
His eyes cleared up, Mum. I'm just going to do it.
His eyes are bad, yeah, look, this morning.
It's cleared up better than it was yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Because I put his eye drops in, so I'll do it again today.
Okay.
He just doesn't like them.
And that's the only thing. He's a bit, he's not hissy spitty, but of course he's the only one that's had to be poked and prodded the most. Sorry guys, we've had to go back onto we've had to go back onto a bungle camp. We've got those creatures again, but I think I did them in blue last time, so I've got a little bit of dark violet, and again, if you can't remember to do dark violet or imperial purple, I have a quick flip to my. So dark violet is a purple, imperial purple is a pink purple. So I think I want the dark violet somewhere down here, so he can have some. Actually, I think I like the blue better. Oh no, I'll do him purple. So again, just a little tiniest little dot of colour. And we don't have to make sure that the brush is clean, but we're meant to that it is just damp. And then we just manipulate that, and by the time we get that to the top, we have the most beautiful soft, and I didn't even get into there, but you see, manipulate that round. The same with this one. And that's what I love about the Derwent watercolour brush. It's so easy. I think we'll make him blue. That over, and I've got a Delft blue. I think Delft blue is quite nice. Again, we look at the top here. That's Delft blue down there, so I think that would look quite nice. So again, not very much colour, and of course the other thing is tight Yorkshire last. Working this way, your pencils are going to last you quite a long time. So we've got a little guy who's coloured in, and he's done then. Oh, Bungle is snot what? He's a bit of a snotty, he's Bung. He's a bit of a bungle snotty.
Dragged his food out.
Oh, he's made a mess everywhere. Yeah, the other thing is having kittens is a bit messy. It's a bit messy. I think I'm going to do some little darker ones down here. But I still want a bit of a highlight, I think. Sorry guys, it's feeding time at the zoo. So you can do as much messing or as least as you want with this. Then you can go back in, and as I say, tomorrow, would not go back in today, would leave it, because those paper fibres really have to dry out. But again, I mean, I love that little highlight there. I don't think I want to do anything, but if I did, and I'm going to spoil it because I just know I'm going to spoil it. Madder Carmine, no, not Madder Carmine, the dark Carmine. What did I do with my dark Carmine? Again, if you want to just pick up the tiniest little bit, and just, again, I wouldn't really do this. I'm just showing you what you would do tomorrow. I wouldn't really want to do this today because we've been in this page, and if you start to rub too much, you will end up with, but that's another way to just, instead of scribbling, is just to do that. Pick it up on the brush, and then you can see, you can just bring a little bit more highlights and shadows. Sorry, not highlights. Once you've done those, they're done. The sepia is very dark, and just kind of, if you wanted to put, again, is it, no, not sepia, beg your pardon. Oh, I think it is sepia. Sepia is the cold dark one. So when I do it's burnt umber, but when you look at sepia, looking for the number, is 53. I don't know where sepia is. I'll put sepia somewhere, because I have my cold browns and I have my warm browns. I've done with sepia. But again, if you just want to just emphasize that, you know, that's quite dark down there. Again, I wouldn't use a black. I'd use the sepia. And then you can build up some darker shadows, which then make the other ones pop out a bit more. So you can play about quite a bit. Has anybody got any questions? That one can do with that pale straw yellow and possibly a little bit of copper beech. So you can mix them about a bit, and then it's the actual, and then because I've missed that one, I'm just going to put that across. This will always move, because remember, it's a watercolour. It will always move. It will be never fixed. It's a professional watercolour. It will always move. But I kind of like that I've got that a bit pinky, because it matches. And I just work across with that one. Here I've got a different one, so we'll use, I think that was the copper beech, so I want a cooler one. I think I'm going to put a little bit of raw umber on there. Or the other one, which is always quite nice on a mushroom, is an olive colour. So we've got olive green. And again, it just changes the colour ever so slightly. And we can put some yellow in there. And that's a colour that we're never going to make again. Exact. And if we work from the top down, we've got another little colour going on. So you can sometimes work this way again and never have the same colour. Here I've got the same colours, here I haven't. And you can build, just keep building up on that. So that's always quite a nice way to work as well. Now this is supposed to be a green man, but and something I don't normally do, but let's do it because I'm in that mood. Let's take black and scribble a soft layer, just a soft layer, nothing to indent the page, just a soft layer. Now we can warm this up. I'm not really a black person, but I want to darken this up, so there's nothing wrong with using black, but we don't want to keep it black. So I'm going to put chocolate over there. And because I didn't build up that strong colour, remember when we're using these as a pencil, you get 2 layers. So I've got 2 layers now. That's about the most you'll start to see dust. But this particular paper's perfect for this. So we've got a layer of black and a layer of chocolate. And that's going to give us, look at that, beautiful. It's a warm black. Even though it could be cold because it's underground, it's a warm black. And you'll probably find, you should have started, if I started at the bottom, I could have had a lighter shade coming up. But when you mix this now, and this is going to dramatically change this page. So what we can do is, when you've done a little bit of this and picked up quite a lot of this strong colour, and again, that's had enough now. We've mixed the colour, that's enough. We don't want to do any more. You see, the black is too grey, too cold, but that makes it a soil colour because it's warmed. If we really wanted to, we could take that almost now like a midnight black and put it here. And you'll probably find now we've started this. I don't normally do a background, but we may as well. But again, you can do a background when you have, and it's going to make those mushrooms and all those highlights on those faces pop out. Oh, hi Darla, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So if you take the black first, I would probably do this last. I'm just showing what it's going to do. I'll leave that one light. I do like the light because I just like the watercolour effect, but sometimes you can have a really dramatic effect because, so you can see that black and then you can, it's almost like a grey, then you can see the chocolate has warmed it up, so it's almost like a compost. It's an earthy colour, it's a warm earthy colour rather than a black back. And then of course we go in with this very gently stroking because we don't want too much water. We're just mixing those 2 layers together to give a beautiful dark foresty kind of effect. So that's going to really darken that up. And when you get that near a highlight for a toadstool, that's going to really brighten up a bit. And again, no, we can go, instead of wasting it, we can go back in there. So his highlight now looks a lot darker than the others because of that. So it's just another way to work. It's just another practice using the same technique. You're just mixing on the page, but instead of mixing from light to dark, sorry, from dark to light, you're mixing flat colour. I think I did that one. And of course you don't need to get to the edges with a pencil, so you don't need a point, because you've got the beautiful paintbrush that you can manipulate everything exactly where you want it. So if we take this up to here. And again, sometimes I don't really want to do very much. One thing you can't do is then go back onto here when it's damp, because it will not like it, and you are scribbling on a damp page that's already just holding itself together. So if you want to do anything on there, you have to wait. Now there's no reason why you couldn't do that again to get it really black and really dark, but do it tomorrow, do it 24 hours later. And then again, no noisy hair dryers, no noise, just peace and quiet, using any electricity. I think there is a creature in this room, but I don't know where, I don't know where it is. And if you want to change the colour slightly, you can use slightly more of one colour than another. So of course this is now getting browner because the layer of black wasn't as strong. But I don't normally like to do backgrounds, but of course because you're using this pencil, you can do that. And you can use 20, 30 colours in the background and then just manipulate them together. So just a very soft. And again, this is where it looks good, because remember what we said about a darker next to a highlight. And then all that simple work you did getting this highlight is going to look so good. And the other beauty is you're doing small amounts, so it's flat, it's not bobbled, nothing's happened at the other side, even though this is only single-sided. That's the black. Nothing's happened at all to the paper. No buckling, no wet, even though we're doing a background. And again, I like that. That's the good bit about it. So I'm going to get as close as I can with that. Now you can't get this dark method, or it's more difficult, I should say, it's not impossible, with using the paper palette. So if you want rich dark colours, put the pencil on. And then just remember to use the tip of the brush. And I have to say, I haven't found a brush that works as good as this. So if you're doing this and you get lots of water, you do need a Derwent No1. Do have to say, and again, I want that really dark so I can keep going in there. And that's all there is to it. And you just keep plodding along. But look at that lovely highlight. Now we've got that dark next to it. It's completely changed it. Hope that's in focus. And again, it's something I don't normally do, but you're not damaging the paper, which again is very good. And you can do this on photocopy paper, so you can do it on a thinner book, which again you can't do in others. So we've got our black, and again I may as well carry on and show you that all these highlights are going to really pop out now. And it completely changes the mood of the book and the page. And that's why sometimes, even by accident, buying a book twice is quite good, because you get a chance to do two completely different pages. So even though I bought this by accident, and it cost me an arm and a leg to buy it from America, I don't know why I did that. And I see I'm going to risk that, but I shouldn't really. There's a little bit of dust appearing. That means I'm using too much pencil, because remember, this is not watercolour paper. This is just ordinary paper. It's a Kerby Rosanes. It's quite good, and it's better than most, but it still isn't a watercolour paper. So we don't want wet, we don't want rubbing. We just want to just activate that and then stop as quick as possible. As soon as we get all that dark, we need to stop. And of course the beauty of it is we still have a little bit on the end of our brush to go to places where we don't have any pencil. So we end up with quite a dark effect.
I'm feeling no pushing.
So I'm just going to have a coffee with some sugar, because it's very bad for you to give up. You've got to have a couple, otherwise you will get a really bad headache. So you're just going to have an odd one. So you normally cut it down a quarter, or even if you cut out a few, 2 or 3. And do that for a week, and then the next week. It's very bad to cut out tea and coffee all at once, and you will get a blinding headache. Because I used to do a detox quite a long time ago. But if you do a slow detox, so instead of trying to do it all at once, if you instead of having a coffee, if you have a coffee every hour, have a coffee and a tea, or have a coffee and something else. Then go have a coffee, then the next one have something else. Preferably water or a herbal tea. Not Coca-Cola, definitely not. And apologies for picking on Coca-Cola. My kidney specialist, when I was 21, said no fizzy drinks. If I have fizzy drinks, my kidney function flops from key stage 3, to key stage 2. And that's fizzy drinks. So I used to drink gin and tonic, and I used to kick the fizz out. So I have done that before. I've used it, but I've used a metal spoon carefully, and I've fizzed all the carbon dioxide out. So I've still got the flavour, but it's flat. But now, of course, with the sugar and everything, that's got to go. So I don't have many, it's just occasionally. minute I think I'm going to have to get rid of everything to sort out this headache. So again, once you get down to there, you see that really lovely highlight will pop out, because a highlight is always lighter when it's next to a dark, and a dark shadow is always darker when it's next to a light. Because remember, you don't always get a shadow and a highlight next to each other. It's not very often. But you do get a dark next to a highlight, and you get a light next to a shadow. So colour-wise, this is out of my comfort zone because I don't normally do a background. I don't normally do darks. So again, whoopsie. Oh, Suzanne says she's had a once a year Coca-Cola. Yep. Once a year would be good. Would be good. I didn't have any wine yesterday. I didn't have any wine Christmas Day. I drank water. Still had a headache. I still had a hangover, but yeah. And again, I think that's how it used to be. You know, things were a treat. It's like when we used to go to London. My cousin and I, when we were 15, 16, we used to go to London Christmas shopping for the day. And there was a McDonald's in Piccadilly, but the train station was King's Cross, and your burger was always cold because you got across the tube and 20 minutes later you're on your train. But that was our treat. It was once a year, and I think it needs to go back to, it's a treat. It's not livable on it. You don't live on it, because why would you want to? One is, it's so expensive. My children have never been to McDonald's. They've been occasionally when they're older, but when they were little, they never went, ever. They never went. They were banned because, and I don't mean to just pick on McDonald's, it was any kind of burger place, because I just didn't think, it wasn't the things that I wanted my children to eat. They weren't allowed sweets, you know, any kind of sweets. They had biscuits and buns. Sorry guys, hubby was just doing the cats. Just my choice. But they eat sweets now till they're coming out of their ears. Well, they don't technically, because Samantha's not a sweet person, but she grazes all the time. She loves to eat. But it's a treat. They had sweets occasionally. They had jelly tots when we used to go shopping. But my daughters used to have tea cakes. I used to take them, and they're like a bread cake with currants in. They had buns and they had biscuits, but they didn't have sweets, and they don't have any fillings. Their teeth are really, really healthy. And I didn't see that there was a point to do it, if that makes any sense. One is, I couldn't really afford loads of sweets. But my girls were quite happy to eat other things. And then when they're old enough now, my daughter will sit and she'll have a cup of black tea and she will eat a full packet of bourbon biscuits. She will go out and she'll buy sweets, but she won't go mad, if that makes any sense. And I think it's like everything in moderation, isn't it? I think you should never give anything up completely, but just having it once. Alfie, what are you doing? So, and I think it's more of a treat if you don't have it every day. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it isn't a treat, because I'm living on it, whereas it's more enjoyable and you appreciate it more if you don't have it as often, if that makes any sense. And I do have a thing as you are what you eat. You know, if you're going to eat junk, you're not going to be on the planet long, or you're going to be ill and your quality of life is going to be pants, purely because we're not built to eat junk food. We're not built. We're built to just eat. And again, it's very strange because eating and dieting is, if you have an addiction to something, you have to give it up in order to get better from this addiction. But of course, you can't do that with food, because we need food to eat, to live. We need the food for fuel, energy and everything else, and to survive and to have a healthy body. So dieting is one of the odd ones that it's, and of course we have all the cravings and everything else going on in our heads, and comfort eating. But there's always a reason why people do things, and I have this philosophy about eating as well. There's always a reason why people have an eating disorder, whatever it may be, overweight or underweight. They have an addiction, whether it be alcohol, smoking, eating, any kind of addiction. And there's always a reason why, and you can't solve any kind of problem unless you look at the reason. The same with me with drinking. I used to drink all the time, and I knew why I drank, and I told the doctor why I drank, but nobody helped me, and it took me 30 years to drink myself out of it. I mean, I wasn't on hard spirits. I used to like vodka martinis, but that's a Bond thing. But after 2, you're pickled anyway, so you only have 2. I didn't drink bottles of vodka and bottles of gin and whiskey, but I did drink bottles of wine. But I did it because there was a reason. And when you solve that reason, I don't want to have a drink anymore. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But it works. And again, we have this human thing, and if we didn't have this human thing, we wouldn't have any addictions and any hang-ups, but we have. Sorry guys, I'm on a bit of a rant. I don't know why I wanted to do that. No, Suzanne, you don't. You don't. It's nasty stuff. It's nasty stuff. Do you know what I do with mine? I pour it. In fact, when the children have parties, I used to buy 2 bottles of this said stuff. And they'd open it, or even sometimes now, the last time they didn't even open it. And what I do is, at night time, I put it down the toilet, and in the morning, my toilet is sparkling clean. So before you want to drink anything, shove it down your toilet and leave it overnight. Then realise what you are drinking. I'm not saying anything else, because I'm not really a party pooper, but everything in moderation. Oh my goodness, my head is banging. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. That's why I've decided to have a Coca-Cola. I've decided to have a thingy. But again, kidney function is a funny thing anyway. And people don't know they've got bad kidneys until it's quite, you know, it's a difficult one. I think I've got this idea of high days and holidays. I kind of like that. It's very different from me. And I had no intention of doing this today whatsoever, but I got a dribble on the other page. And I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, because I always forget to do this. And again, there's no pressure, although my hands won't like this tomorrow. In fact, that's probably about as much as I want to do now. I'm going to write a a post-it note to myself, and I shall probably use one of my new pens. I've got a 0.3 and a 0.8. So we've got Derwent. Thank you, darling. I just need a thingy, so it's not on the table. Sorry, my head's absolutely fine. Here, Nigel. Oh, have you got one? It'll be okay in there. Could you get rid of that water, because I'll spill it. Let's pop it on there. Thank you. Thank you. So I've got Derwent watercolour pencils, scribbled and activated with the #1 brush, and I'm going to shove that in there. So I know what I've done. Thank you, darling. Thank you. So I know what I've done with that one, and I'm going to go back to this and hope it's dried. Yes, it has dried. I dropped some water on that. It got a little bit of a bobble look, but I think it's fine. So I'm going to have a play with that, but I'm going to use something different. I think I'm going to use something different. Just bear with me. I'm going to have a mouthful of. I've actually got a coffee. I've not had a coffee. Has anybody got any questions? Yes, so I shall be banging on about the Derwent, the diet and health thing on the other channel. Oh, we've got a toffee. Oh look, we have toffee. We're going to have a bit of a kitten coming. Hi, Toff. Toffee. Puss, puss, puss. Hello, Toffee. Toffee Fee. Toffee was the little girl we found at Filey, and of course the Bungle. And Bungle's naughty to Toffee. He says, Bungle, puss, puss, you be a good boy. Isn't he beautiful? Yeah, he's naughty to Toffee. He's going to go beat her up because he's a bad kitty cat. Toffee, Toffee, puss, 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 puss. Bungle, behave yourself. Bungle, behave yourself. Honestly, Bungle is so naughty. Might just have to go see if I can. Hi, Toff. Be nice, Bungle. Bungle wants to play, and Toffee doesn't. I don't know why I'd trapped you in here. You go in there, darling. Come on. Come on, Toffee. Shout Toffee, because she's... Toffee. Toffee. Toffee's in here with Bungle. Good morning, missus. Are you all right? How's your head? No, Bungle's decided he's not going to. Hi, Bungs. Bungle's decided, Toffee's decided she wants to stop in here. Right. So that was my little note to me. Hi, Toff. Hopefully we're back, guys. I'll just have a quick look. So that was using those. So that was using those. I did that one on the ferry, but I can't get it to upload. But that was very easy, just touching and swishing, and that was very easy. But of course, love those colours. But like the paler ones for here, so I think I'm going to do the Derwent watercolour pencils, but I think I'm going to use this because little watercolour book. I do like this way to work. Oh, bye, Melody. Have a lovely lunch. So hopefully we're still okay. Just see if I can find that one. So I'm going to use my, although these are the Derwent watercolour pencils I've been using. This is a slightly different method. We have the giant boy. Are you going to want to be moving in, Bungle? You want to sit down, do you, Bungle? Hi, Bung. I've moved everything off and now he's going to jump down. Honestly. No, Bungle, that's naughty. He will not leave. Bungle. Good boy, Bungle. He will not leave Bungle alone. He will not leave Toffee alone, I mean. So I kind of like the idea that this is what I use, and this is what I use for therapy. This is what I used to do this one, which again was real therapy. Shut up. Oh, Bungle is just not going to behave himself. I'm going to have to remove him because he's just going to be a pain. Oh, Bungle, shush. Toffee. Oh, Bungle is just being an annoying boy. So this is the famous one that I did when I was in hospital with hubby when he had his stroke. This is the real beautiful therapy, is a good quality watercolour pencil scratched on squares just to flick with a water brush. And I like this because you flick for the colour and then you use it, and it works really well, and you don't have any mess, and it's silent, so it's perfect if you're in casual hospital and you've got to be quiet. Bungle, he's just been he's been a sausage, look. He knows she doesn't like him. So she's there and he's messing about under there. He's got all this room. There he is, look. Bungle, stop it. She doesn't like you. Toffee. Bungle, you are naughty. Toffee, shush. Toffee, puss. Bungle wants to play with everybody and he can't understand that this girl is just miserable. Hi, Bung. So this room needs to be sorted out a bit better. I may have to put Bungle out in the other room because he's a bit naughty. And again, I don't like this book. It's not working for me, so I'm going to have to change it. So I'm going to do, one of the videos will be revamping my little book. I do have the little book that I made. He's just showing off now. Sorry, guys. He's just showing. I never get anything done when I'm in here because I just want to watch them all the time. He's just been, and he's going to go back over there and he's going to go see her again because he just can't help himself. I want to go annoy Toffee. Yeah, I'm going to go sit in that one. And he's huge as our Bungle. You see, he's huge. He's been playing in that for such a long time, it's nearly broken. But he's doing it on purpose because he knows Toffee's down there and he wants to be a bad cat. Bungle! He knows what he's doing. Bungle! He loves that thing. Absolutely adores it. He has done since he was a kitten. Of course, he's doing it right over Toffee. He knows what he's doing. He's just... He does the same with Alfie. And he'll go to sleep in a minute, hopefully. Look how fat he is. He's not actually, technically, he's not fat. It's because he's tall and he's big. But he's been to the vets and he's perfect weight. But he's just a tall boy. Now, this is what he loves. When he was a kitten, he was in his hammock. I've never seen him do this because I'm not sure how he gets in. Because he's always in. Look, he's so big. He's so big. I've never seen him do that. Sorry, guys. Because he's so huge. It takes him 10 minutes to get out. Because he's just so big. But of course, he's right next to Toffee, who's just down there. Toffee's just there. Look. He just says, there we go. I've got all this space. But he does like, I must admit, that is his hammock. So, sorry, guys. That was... Oh, hi, Marilyn. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? Hi, Virginia. Anybody else popping in? Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Having a bitty day today, as usual. So I'm going to be working in Fantomorphia. I'm working with my Derwent watercolour pencils. But I'm working with them from the paper palette. So if you don't have this, you can just use good quality extra wet strength. Extra wet strength. Just bear with me a second, guys. Right, has anybody got any questions? Oh, look at him now. Oh my goodness, now Alfie's in the room. This is just... So he's going to be in there. He'll go to sleep now. But he's such a big boy. But there's a picture of... Oh, there you go. Trouble. Are you going to be a good boy now and sleep? Don't disturb him, he's asleep. Good boy. Off you go sleep. No, Alfie's 2. Good boy. Alfie's not. Alfie, settle down, please. Settle down. It's a madhouse. Alfie's not going to settle down. Right, sorry guys, get on with it. Yeah, we'll get on with it. I'm going to put the pencils over there. So I love this method. I call it touch and go. And you just have a Derwent No1 brush, which is perfect for most. Oh, I'll just see if they'll open that door for me and get rid of Alf pants. I like the fact that I've got my scale here of at least 10 colours. So although there's only 72 Derwent watercolour pencils, when you put them on a paper palette, and this is extra wet strength, it's about 3 layers. There's quite a few videos on how to do this. There's going to be a new one in the new year. You get 10 tones of this colour, 10 shades, full colour to pale, full colour to pale. So although there's 72 pencils, you can times that by 10, so there's 720 colours. And that doesn't include mixing the colours together. So even though there's only 72, we've got millions of colours here, millions. Even on this page, you can mix every colour with every other colour. So that 6 sixes is 36. And then you've got, that's 50-50 ratio, then you've got more of this and more of that, a darker shade, a lighter shade. Then you've probably got 100 colours from each page quite easily. So, you know, we're talking probably every colour you would ever want. And then every colour will mix with every colour, so that's 72 colours will mix with 72 colours. And then you can also then go to your yellows and say my yellows, which I have 6, will mix with my blues, which I have purple blues and blue blues. So I can then make another few hundred greens without even going near the already greens we've got. So the possibilities are endless with these professional watercolour pencils. And then you can also do another thing as well, which is, if I can find an extra wet strength sketchbook. Which I possibly can't. Oops, dear, I fell off my seat there. Oh, I've just found the book. It's fallen out of the back. Oopsie. This is my little book that I've made for the Bible, because I love this one, but when I flick, I go onto the Inktense. And if you use Inktense in a Bible, it's too much. So I've made this one. Haven't stuck them in yet. This is a vintage, and I like the plastic palette. And this is what you've got, the plastic palette to mix the colours. So I've made these bigger squares, and then this is going to be in the Bible journaling, which again is another channel. No, I've actually lost those out of there, so they're going to go in there. So again, I've got the 72 Derwent watercolour pencils in here, and that's just a nice little neat size. And I know that all that is the Derwent watercolour pencils, but it's on extra wet strength. So what I'm going to do, I'll take the first one because I know where that one is. I've mixed them all up. Dipstick, never mind. So this isn't too dirty, so this is extra wet strength, and that's perfect because you can re-wet it and it will dry. And some of these squares I've had for 5-6 years and they're fine. So the other way you can work with these gorgeous watercolour pencils is you can mix them on a paper palette. I don't know why I can't find my paper palette. And again, if you want to make a green, you've got a green. But if you want to make it an olive colour, and then you can mix them on here and then use them. And I love working them like that, because that's how you work them as a professional watercolour pencil, not sorry, a professional watercolour is using them that way. It's just putting the so I'll be using them that way an awful lot. But when it's for colouring and it's for therapy and it's for quickness and it doesn't hurt your hands, then you need the paper palette. And you need a clean brush. Not really into these sponges. I like the thicker sponges actually. Probably a bath sponge cut up would be better than a makeup sponge, I think. And then all I do is I just touch a tiny bit and then look where I want to work, and I get a lovely watercolour effect. And the lighter you get, the lighter colour you pick up, the lighter the watercolour, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. So let's look for this one here. So there's a deep cadmium. So I'm going to touch the deep cadmium, and you can see it on the end there. And then you touch that, and I've got a lovely watercolour effect. That's how quick it is. Touch and go. And although I like the Inktense watercolour set, and then if you leave that one and then go back over the outside, you've got the highlight. And pick up colour, and what you're doing is you're taking all the colour off. So it's it's very much the opposite of chameleon pens. We've got a little bit of colour, and we're diluting it to nothing. So you work dark to light, whereas the chameleons work light to dark. But the principle is the same. That water is just making that colour pop out. And then we have that lovely soft watercolour effect. And little oh my goodness me, brain. Very little effort is what I'm trying to say. And yet I love it because you get a really nice effect, and it's just really, really easy. Excuse me. We have peace in the room. We have peace in the room. So again, if you think that one's going to be a little bit stronger, and again, I work in this little circle here. So what happens is somewhere here you'll see that's light. So that one is very pale, so that's going to get up here. And then if I want it this full strength, I go to the next darkest. And then when this gets used, like here, I just scribble over the top. Obviously, it's got to last a few days to dry out before you scribble. And these have been revamped a couple of times. My other one is about 8 years old now, and it's still going really strong. So pick the colour up and go across. We're still on the cadmium. Pick the colour up. And again, the tight Yorkshire lass in me says that every little bit of colour I pick up, there's hardly any on the brush, hardly any left on the brush. So that means that all my pigment that I've paid all that money for is on my page. And again, as a tight Yorkshire lass, that's really important to me. So I've got a lovely little highlight there, very little effort, can concentrate on this. This is how I did the one when my husband was having a stroke. I did it one-handed, I held his hand with one hand, and I did this with the other. And this is when the therapy bit really did keep me calm. Because at that point, I always go on about it, but it so worked. And I would never have thought that I could have kept calm while I was on that stroke ward, worrying about what was happening. I just knew that there was something wrong with hubby. I didn't know what it was. They were coming out with all these unusual things. And you just sit there for hours. And this really worked. I didn't have a complicated pattern. I just worked with the roses because they were easy. And I used, I didn't use the Derwent watercolour pencils on that one. I used the Peerless, but it was a square of colour. And just sat and did this, which was really good to keep you calm. And of course, if you have the pencils and you don't want to give them to somebody else, or you don't want to afford to buy them, you can make one of these little books with the colours. And so somebody else will have a good few months of colour on here. And I just love the fact that you can just pick up as much, or if you've got a highlight, don't pick any colour up and just use what's on the brush. Again, that always gives a lovely effect. And again, I'm not one for being like cheating, but I just love the fact that I can do this really simple thing, and you can do this for 12 hours. It does not hurt your hands because all the pressure and all the bounce is in the brush. When you're using a pencil, all that pressure, all that scratching is in here and in here and in here. And I can't do that, but I can do this, stroking the page for hours. And that's why I invented watercolouring. This is watercolouring, colouring in a colour book with a barely damp brush and some beautiful, very, very well pigmented watercolour paints. And almost instantaneously it dries, and I love it. So I've got a leaf. Oh, I've got one more flower there. My problem is sometimes I don't remember what colours I used. If you go the second time, you get the paler one, which might have been, you know, if I'd have thought about it, that would have been, the top one would have been lighter. But and then we could put a tiny little bit of there's orange chrome, but again you look and you think, well, that's a little bit too dark. That one's quite nice, spectrum orange. I think deep chrome, a little bit of deep chrome. Now this won't be a watercolour effect, but it'll just make those little, just that tiniest colour. And again, if you looked at the ends of those two pencils, you wouldn't have seen that difference in there. So and if you want it a little bit darker, just touch it again and go a bit darker. But that is a lovely soft watercolour effect. Again, and I love the fact that you can work very strong like we did on this one. And these are the same watercolours. And again, that's why I love them, because they are so versatile. So instead of having to buy 10 of everything, you just buy one. So now I want my greens, and I've put my greens into blue greens and greens. So I've got my pale greens, and then I've got my darker greens. So again, I'm looking at this particular one, and I think that's the one I do the olive colour. Olive green is number 51, again dark to light. So again, touch that. I've got some colour on there, not much. Start where it's the darkest and work up. Now you can do either two things. You can work small and barely damp. So we do a small leaf at a time. Now that's actually disappeared, so I'm going to go for the cedar green because it's too near. I don't think I like it as much. So I think I'm going to go for here. So I'm going to touch the cedar green. And again, it really is pinpricks. And then I'm going to work under that one. And I think that colour is just slightly better. And remember, I hadn't used my little piece of paper to test the colour, which I normally do. So again, that's a good idea. Now this particular one, you can see I've used quite a lot of it. So it won't be long before we need to revamp that. There's no reason why you can't use two colours on a page. You know, do a darker one. I've done that before. There's so many different variations that you can do with paper palettes, as long as it's on extra wet strength. So I can now look and think, well, actually, I kind of like that, but I kind of want something like this grass green here on the tip, because obviously that's like a variegated leaf. So let's do that and mix them together. So it doesn't take long. I mean, you can do lots of different ones if you wanted, but I actually kind of like, or you could put a yellow, you know, a cadmium yellow in there would do it. The problem you can't do is you can't remix too much. Once you've done it once, you don't really want to go back in there. So this has got to be a quick flick. And then if you wanted to, say tomorrow or the next time you go over it, once you finish the whole page, have a look at the page and think, well, actually, I could actually put a little bit of dark under there to make a highlight. So in the minute, I'm going to do that. Now, it's a bit bobbled because I put too much water on it. Well, not too much, but I was rubbing, you see. Although it's perfectly all right, if that was a double-sided, you can see you don't really want to be doing any more there because it doesn't like it. It's now been rubbed, it's been wet, that's it. But I'll come back to that one, and I'll come back and I'll just get my pencil out. So when I do my greens, I use indigo. So if I get indigo out, it'll remind me. Indigo is my shadow for my greens. And I'll show you how I can just, even though I quite like that, I can just, not now because it's damp, I can just make that petal sit on top. But again, sometimes it's nice to do the whole page and then look at it and think, you know, that bird I want to pop out, so I'm just going to put a little bit of dark around the outside so that bird will pop out and actually is on top rather than next to. And that's the difference. Hope that made sense, guys. So thanks for stopping by. Whoopsie. Thanks for stopping. Whoopsie. I don't know what I'm doing now. Come on, missus. And you've got to remember what colours you use as well, so that's always a good idea. So I've used grass green, I've used cedar green. So we've got cedar green, which we can manipulate to be lighter. Now, obviously, you'd get more comfortable and you wouldn't have to keep flipping like this, but and again, sometimes you get that lovely natural highlight there, which is really, really nice, and you don't want to do anything else. And then when you go darker to paler, and then darker to paler, or you could do a bigger space and do darker to paler in a bigger way, if that makes any sense. But I don't like to wet the page too much. And you can still get little tiny highlights within each one, if you know what I mean. There we go. So we know that that's looking like it's darker in here. So it makes the leaf curl. I think I've done it all now. Just going to put that little bit in there. And then we want the grass green. And there's a tiny bit of colour on there, but I'm not going to really bother. And then come backwards. Now, cup, darling, please. Thank you. So I hope you've all had a pleasant Christmas. So not adamant with those colours at all, but yeah, it's fine. I like the lovely pale one there. And this is a slightly different flower, even though the other one doesn't look like it. So I think I could get away with a peachy colour for that one. So let's look for a peach. Pale vermilion that's quite a nice colour, is pale vermilion. Chrome orange is quite strong, but I like it. And then we've got spectrum orange, again a reddy orange. But I think pale vermilion is quite nice. And of course I love geranium, so let's have a look. So I do have to use geranium. I think that might be the geranium, that bigger one there. So I think we'll start with pale and go right round. So we'll do pale vermilion. Pick up a little bit of colour on pale vermilion. Thank you, darling. That's all right, I'll drink that. No, no, no. Thank you. So, pale vermilion. So you can do it one-handed. And if you get a bigger petal, you need slightly more colour. If you've got a smaller petal, you want slightly less colour. Don't disturb him, Alfie, please. Alfie. Alfie. And then this one you can do this way. So you end up with your highlight on the other side. Oh, hi Bob, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Hi Katrina, anybody else I've missed? I'm working in Fantomorphia, and I'm using my little paper palettes because I love my little book of watercolours, and this is my little travel book of watercolours, and I've had the original one for years, but I just love the fact it's so easy to use. And you get some really nice effects, and all you're doing is just touching and going. So, and as I say, I invented this kind of watercolouring because it's very good for your hands. You can do it all day. It doesn't hurt your hands. It's clean. It's quick, and you can do it anywhere. And it's very good for therapy. And so I did this when my husband had his stroke and we were in hospital. I sat, and this kept me sane. Because we couldn't do anything else but just sit in the hospital ward. You had to be fairly silent. This is silent. No pencils, no water, no nothing. This was quite silent. And all the nurses were really amazed. And again it was silent because I couldn't read, I couldn't concentrate on anything. And again I did it one-handed. I was holding my husband's hand while I was doing this. So it really was the perfect therapy. and you get a lovely watercolour effect. So you can do strong colours if you wanted to, but I just wanted to just do this. And so I sat for several hours in the hospital and did this. And flicked a colour. It's the only noise I made. I did only use 2 colours. I used a tea rose red from the Peerless, and I used a green as well. I used the dark green. Oh, Alfie Cross.
It is cat century in here, isn't it?
Oh, have you got little man? Alfie's just been asleep with me. And
we're going now.
2 seconds.
Bye, baby.
Sorry guys, we've just had to do the eye drops in the kittens. It's a 2-man job. 2 seconds.
Is it alright if I take this to Manchester?
What?
The box of goodies you gave us. Because he said he would put by the house.
Yeah, that's fine, darling.
Alright.
Are you taking the grinder, coffee grinder?
Are you okay, Bung Bung?
Look at Bung Bung. Look at Bung Bung. Oh, they're all the way now. Sorry guys, we should have some peace and quiet in a second. Hopefully. Let me just find the one I was showing and see if it's about what Alfie's been about and kicking about. So he's knocked everything off. Yeah, he has. He's knocked everything off. Oh, bless him. So this is the I think this is the one, wasn't it? Yeah. So because I'd got this book and it was new, as I say, they said that thought husband had a stroke, took him to an ambulance. Obviously you don't rush to hospital afterwards because you're not going to get in. So we brought the girls home and fed them. Oh, Samantha. So I picked this up. I picked my little book of watercolours up. And I picked my number 1 brush. Oopsie. I don't know what's happened. Ooh. I seem to have disappeared, guys. I don't know why. Something weird's happening. Bye! Oh my goodness, that's not... Right, I'm going to stop, guys, and I'm going to come back on because I don't know what's happened. Let's have a look. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Goodness gracious me. Are we not back yet? That's a bit weird. See if I can pinch and zoom. Oh, it's not letting me do anything now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm going to have to... Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I'm back. No. Right, sorry guys, I'm going to start a new show because this has gone a bit haywire. So I'll try and put a link to turn off and come back on. Thanks for watching, guys.